stories. And today I am chatting with the fabulous Derek Hawke, who is an amazing graphics artist. You should see some of the stuff he's done. If you follow him on Facebook, if you don't, you should, because he always posts these little, where he has pictures that he turns into these 3D images. He even did one for my profile picture, and I still haven't tried to figure out how the hell to put it in there, but I'll get to it one of these days. Anyways, Derek, what I do here on the show is I talk to people about their deconversion stories. And so basically, let's go back to the beginning of when you first started sort of realizing that this stuff is nonsense, and take us on that journey, the ups, the downs of that journey, all the way to you becoming the atheist activist that you are today. And before you do that, I also want to remind people that if you guys don't know anything about Atheist Vanguard, they have a YouTube channel as well, and they are another program through the ACA, and Derek is one of the hosts. So definitely check that out. I've got links to all of Derek. I got his Twitter, his Facebook, and a link to the Atheist Vanguard channel down below, so check that out for sure. Now, take us through that journey, Derek.
Wow. Hi, how you doing? Nice seeing you again.
Yeah.
God, that's going to be a long story and a bit melodramatic, but let's see what we can do.
That's the way I like them, buddy.
So, gosh, I think the first presence of religion that I ever had was when I was about 5 years old, and my mother had taken me to a Catholic daycare, preschool. Okay. And all I remember is I'm left-handed, and us left-handed people don't get along with the Catholics, if you might realize.
Damn, Southpaws.
I remember her name. Her name was Sister Mary Garcia, and she used to whip out that ruler as fast as she could, and it was like magic. I hope she's burning in hell right now.
But remember, we don't believe in hell.
Well, if I did, I hope she's there, and I hope there's demons like gnawing at her left hand, because mine. I still have marks, I think.
Oh man!
But do you know where that came from? Actually, I did some research. I am left-handed, and looking at, of course, there's a lot of cultural things where some people wipe their hands with their left hand, blah blah blah. But with religion, it stems back to the book of Revelation, at least as far as I looked into it. And it's because on Judgment Day, the righteous go to the right hand of God, and the damned go to the left hand of God.
Oh, that's all it is. Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, just turned my fan on.
That bitch beat my hand because of that.
That is so. When she's beating your hand, what was she trying to do? Make you become a righty?
Correct. So if they saw you writing with your left hand or eating with your left hand, and I think that's probably why I'm a bit ambidextrous today, because the only thing that I do left-handed is write and eat. Everything else I do right-handed. I played guitar right-handed. I batted right-handed. But not because of Jesus. It's just because that's the way I am. But that was the first kind of the presence of, the actual introduction of some type of religious foundation in my life. It didn't really get nasty until I was probably about 6 years old, when we joined a non-denominational, fundamentalistic Christian. The type that gets slain in the spirit, that speak in tongues, that flop around on the ground, and all this sort of bullshit. But
the crazy ones.
The crazy ones, yeah. The only thing that was missing were rattlesnakes.
Oh, wow. Well, that's probably good.
That's good, because I'm scared of snakes.
Well, not only that, they're venomous, so that would be dumb. I mean, how many preachers have died?
I'm scared of snakes and bees.
Are you?
When you were down here, didn't you see that I had a cast on?
Yep.
That was from running away from bees.
I just picture you. It's funny how when bees buzz around our heads, we become instant karate champions. Fucking winging your hands around.
I learned that day that I am capable of screaming like a woman.
Well, if you're scared enough, I think any of us could do that. I often wondered if women, when they get really scared, do they scream like us, or I don't know.
I don't know. I probably.
We're gonna get in trouble. You know that.
I know. Basically, if you were in the vicinity, you would have heard.
I can just picture it, bud. I can just picture it.
I know. Anyway, so I went down the aisle and gave my life to Jesus when I was 6. And what was really, when I look back in that, I loved Jesus with all my heart. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was my best friend, and he was what I needed and what I wanted, and what I didn't know that I wanted. And that's where the kind of insidious of this. I was made to be sick so that I could have this cure, mm-hmm. and that's basically the story of my life, or my childhood. I was made to be sick so that this person, or this perfect man, could make me better. And we had, do you know the movie A Thief in the Night?
Yes. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
Ooh, that scared the shit out of me.
Really?
Oh, that was scary. And it was probably like bad acting and all that, but basically it's a rapture tale. It's a rapture tale, and you have people that were left behind. And this is before Left Behind, and you had kids being executed and old people with 666 on their forehead, and it was a police state. And as a 10-year-old, it was traumatizing. And I don't know. I mean, I still think about it to this day, and it's like being scared of an episode of like Kojak, but still, it was these fear tactics, and this is what all it was a fear tactic. And it was a Saturday night, and it was a family movie night at the church. And I left that church terrified. I used to have nightmares about the rapture. Either I was being raptured and my parents were left behind, or vice versa, and it was just horrible. The red moon. I remember the first time I saw that the moon could actually naturally turn red. Well, that shit's right out of Revelation. I was expecting to see flying goddamn scorpions that sting you for 5 months and all that.
5 months. That's a kind of a precise number right there.
It is. It's in the book of Revelation. As I think I've mentioned to you, I'm a creepypasta author.
Yes.
And I do a lot of, and I like to get into a little bit because a lot of those stories that I wrote were autobiographical about and allegories to growing up in this type of scenario. But one of the stories I wrote, called The Sounding of the Fifth Trumpet, is the fifth trumpet, where the bottomless pit opens up and Abaddon comes out, and he has the keys to the bottomless pit, and that's where his army is. And they're scorpions with the face of a man, the hair of a woman, the body of a lion, and the tail of a scorpion. And they sting you for 5 months, and they sting you, and you are tormented and can die for 5 months.
Oh, fuck. No thanks.
Yep. I used to have dreams about that.
Dude, that's
I was
crazy.
A crazy kid, though. Do you ever notice that there's no Christian superheroes?
What about Bible Man?
That's bullshit. That's some PBS shit.
Yeah. No, I agree, but still, that was a thing, if you can believe that.
Didn't he have a Jesus lightsaber?
Something like that, yeah. It was pure white sword that glowed like a lightsaber, yeah.
Oh, dude, guess what? So last week, the episode of Vanguard.
I love it.
Instead of the it goes, oh.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But last week on Atheist Vanguard, the episode with Arn Ra aired, and I am now notorious because I asked the question that everybody has been wanting to ask Arn Ra but never has.
I just saw that episode today, by the way.
Well, he just talks about his past paganism and how he would most closely related to a Jedi. And I asked him, what color would your lightsaber be?
Yeah, that's right, you did.
And I don't know what the hell he said. It was some gray silver, but he gave it some scientific paleontology name, but I thought it was still pretty cool.
Well, he just meant, I think he said something along the lines of that would be similar to like a gunmetal gray. It's like what it was.
Yep.
I don't think that's an option, is it?
It's Arn Ra. He can have what he wants.
Yeah, he can have whatever the fuck he wants, man.
I know. I'd like to see him do a little choke on Ken Ham.
I'm sure he would love to too.
But that's I don't even forget. Oh God, I even forgot where I was. I'm still a kid.
You're talking about you're still like around between 6 and 10, and the teacher was hitting you in the left hand to make you a righty.
Yeah. So growing up, and it still kind of plagues me to this day. I was born a natural skeptic. I've always wanted to know why come this, why come that, and I could never tolerate or really. I was never satisfied with because I say so. In a Christian household, that's a big no-no, and it also I felt that I was the lesser child. I was the oldest child, but kind of the less liked. And if a parent could have favorites, that was because I was the troublemaker. I was the black sheep. I was the one.
That's why I liked you right away, man.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I was the one sneaking in the middle of the night trying to. I'm a big Alien fan. Mm-hmm. I watched that thing, as a kid, and I was like, how I've always tried to fit this into this universe where a God exists. How would Jesus make this, and how would this? And that's because I wanted this to be true, so true. But I also knew that things they didn't fit right. They didn't fit right. Why on this little planet, this massive existence that we have all this out here? How does God, why does God want to know how many hairs in the head do I have? Why does he make me sad? Why does he make me not happy? All these sorts of things. And my parents couldn't answer those questions. And they were angry for me and asking them in the first place, particularly my dad. So that's kind of, and it really spoiled my relationship with my family up until this day, because it really was the road to where I am at today. I've never actually ever, this is the first time I'm ever going to talk about this, but I remember the exact moment I lost my faith. The exact moment. I could picture it in my head, and I've never actually ever said it out loud. So this is the first time I've done this. I was 13 years old, and it was August, and I was going through probably how teenagers go through depression, and I was an awkward kid, not liked by a lot of people, particularly my family, apparently. And I remember being outside, and it was right before school started. It was a Texas summer night, crystal clear night, full moon. And I remember sitting in the grass and just feeling horrible, feeling the most helplessness and hopeless feeling I could feel. And I remember looking up into the moon and just crying out with the most desperation for God to just answer me, just do anything, please, just let me know you're there. I need something right now, please, just begging with all my heart, crying and just emotionally shattered, and all I got was silence. And that I lost my faith at that time. And that's when
you were only 13 at that time, right?
I was 13, yes.
Yeah. That's pretty early.
And so now I was very fortunate, yeah. But so now I had to, the only way I can describe it is that I saw the church and I saw the people within the church a different way now. I saw them as truly what they want to be, and that's sheep. Because, I mean, if you look at it, if you think about it, if you honor a book that refers to you and its people that follow it as sheep, mostly written by a wolf.
Yeah.
And so I really saw the self-righteousness. I saw the joy that these people took when they thought that God was enacting his wrath or showing his presence. And I'll give you an example. I remember in the late 80s watching TV, and we had one of those big old TVs like Archie Bunker where you turn it on, it goes, and the little light in the middle starts getting brighter, brighter, brighter. Is that big old tube?
Yep.
And I remember watching the news, and the news was about a new disease that was emerging, and it was predominantly in the homosexual community. And at the time they were calling it GRID, gay-related immunodeficiency. And I remember I still remember this to this day. I was like, well, that's horrible. And then going to church and people celebrating this disease. And I realized why they were celebrating this disease. And this is probably when I'm about 15. They're celebrating this disease because this is finally their God coming out of hiding after being missing in action for over 2,000 years. He's finally enacting the wrath that he promised he would on those who didn't believe like they believe. It was a validation of their religion, and they needed death and disease and suffering to validate the truth of their religion. And that's what I started seeing these people. And it was all of them. It was this church. I'm not saying that all Christians are bad. It was this church, and it was this. It was a small church, and you know that when you get a small group of people, all they do is gossip and talk about each other behind the back. It's pretty entertaining. But yeah, that's what I saw. In church, they used to make us get into groups, and we would hold hands in a circle, and then we would sing and I love you in the name of God, and there was like this, that was the only part I remember. And I remember just like mouthing these words and looking at these people I'm holding their hands. I'm like, I can't stand every last one of you.
You're not coming to my birthday party.
I know. I don't love any of you. And this is before Kurt Cobain, when it was cool to be like, antisocial. I was way ahead of the game. I was teen spiriting way back then. So then my parents got divorced, and that was nasty. I was rebelling. I was in the middle of rebelling. I actually had my father tell me to my face that the divorce was my fault. Stuff like that.
What?
Yeah.
Holy
fuck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had stuff. He told. I remember asking him one time, why do you love my sisters more than me? And he said, well, at first I love God more, then I just love them. I just can't help it. I'm like, okay, good, fair answer.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was one of those, there was physical abuse, of course, and that's mostly, with these type of religions. My father was a little man who loved being told that he's the head of the household and that he rules with an iron rod, and kids should not be heard, and they should not speak, only be heard, type of bullshit. And then you have somebody here who wants to speak and is always speaking, always getting in trouble for that. So yeah, it's took a lot of time. The best thing. So I got kicked out of the house when I was 17. The reason why I got kicked out was because I got caught listening to rock and roll. And
oh no!
Yes.
Wait, what was it you were listening to?
You're gonna laugh. It was from the movie Dirty Dancing.
Oh yeah.
I've had the time of my life. And that's the song that I got kicked out of the house for.
That just blows my mind, Derek.
Yeah.
I could understand if it was something like, Black Sabbath
Fuck
or
the
something.
police. Fuck the police,
Or
yo.
something like that, right? Yeah, but not fucking. I've had the time of my life. You might as well have been kicked out of the house for listening to some of
Mickey,
We
you're
Are
so
the
fine.
World.
You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway,
I know. I mean, I can even do anything cool. Like if I got kicked out for like Metallica or Ozzy, that's cool. But
yeah,
fuck, I don't even know the name of the band, the guy that sang it. Anyways, so like God, I can't even get kicked out of the house like a cool way. My God. So
you're probably better off. I'm telling you that right now.
yeah. Well, looking back at that, that's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me because I'm so glad that I didn't grow up with the beliefs my father had and Hatton has. And I always learned, I've always had the desire to question not only my place in the world, but others' places in how we play a part of it, and how we affect others. I self-awareness to me is kind of like rings. And my rings, I'm going to get kind of spiritual here. Rings extend out. And what I mean by rings is kind of like cause and effect, like ripples in a water when you throw a rock and how they spread out. Some people, they only spread out like maybe an arm's length. And that's the constraints of their awareness. I'm always been kind of aware of my awareness. And that's always been where my root of my humanism lays. Not just knowing how my actions affect my immediate surroundings, but how my actions affect other people and affect other people. I love doing things for other people for no reason. I take joy in doing nice things for people and just seeing the reaction.
Me too.
I didn't have to get famous buddy to do a selfie with you, and expect anything. I mean, and I really enjoyed doing that selfie. I was like, if there's any one person who's going to appreciate this, it's going to be Neil.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have to take a look at that picture again. I don't know if people are listening. I drew Neil with I'm a big Alien fan, the Xenomorph, and so I'm always doing those type of drawings myself. And I did the one I did with you. If you look at it again, the smile that I drew on him was kind of like he didn't know how to smile. He was just kind of
like he's trying. He's trying.
But so after picture. That, what's that?
It was a cool picture. I posted it out. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Oh, I made you. I think I whined to you. I said, please.
Come on, you'll share this. I did. I put it on Twitter.
Yeah, I think I may owe you one in the future. I think Her Majesty might want to do a selfie with you.
Her Majesty.
Yeah.
Oh, the Queen.
Yeah.
I know what you mean now. At first, I was like, "Who the hell is he talking about?" Now it took a second.
You're talking to super geek here.
Well, I
was a geek before it was cool to be a geek. So I'm kicked out. I finish high school, and then I go into the military. Now, the military is a very interesting time period for me because I'm still considering myself an agnostic, and I was using the wrong definition or term. I wasn't a true agnostic, and I really don't know what this really term was. I just called it agnostic, but I didn't deny that there was a God. I just didn't care. I don't care if there's a God. Very apathetic. The reason why I held on to that term for about 10 years was I was afraid to make that final step into atheism, because if I called myself an atheist and I denied Christ, that is one of the unforgivable sins. That's point of no return. If you deny Christ, he will deny you in heaven. And it was like that. It took me 10 years to get to that point. I was one of those atheists that we are embarrassed about, or an agnostic. I was an atheist. I just want to call myself that. But I hated God. Yes, I did hate something that exists, but I did hate him. I hated every. I was blasphemous for the sake of being blasphemous. I was the one that would say something so totally ugly about the Exorcist. I love quoting the Exorcist. Just the blasphemy. I had myself a target in my family as well. But I made him pay for it. I paid him back as well. I'll give you an example. On one Thanksgiving, I was back from home from leave, and it was Thanksgiving, and they asked me to do the grace. Now they know my feelings about religion. They know they knew I was traumatized by it. They knew that I didn't like it, but they were like, "Oh well, let's make Derek do grace." And so I'm like, "All right, I'll do grace."
It's kind of a really fucking dick thing to do, really.
Yeah. So I said, well, and so I repaid there with a very dick response. I said, okay, I'll say grace. Dear Lord.
Fuck you.
I was like, dear Lord, we paid for all this food, so thanks for nothing. Oh.
Yeah, we paid for it. We cooked it. You're a fucking slacker.
Thanks for nothing. You know why there's so many.
Remember that one.
Do you know why there's so many gay guys joining the Catholic Church?
Nope.
Because they heard there's a guy in there hung just like this.
Oh, Jesus.
We're gonna get in trouble, aren't we?
Well, this one won't be monetized. Let's put it that way. Although I'm pretty damn sure none of my videos are going to be monetized, and to be honest, I don't care. So it's okay. No, that reminds me. I'm going to interject here real quick. I've started a PayPal me for anyone who would like to help me out with improving my channel, because and I can use whatever help I can get, to be honest, because I just dropped $3,500 on a new system. So, but that all comes with the warranty, the Geek Squad showing up whenever I want, that kind of replacement parts, etc., etc. So,
God damn, would you buy Skynet?
No, no Alienware.
Ooh.
Yeah, fancy schmancy. Watching too many episodes of Big Bang Theory.
All right,
you were talking about the grace. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. This is about me. Hello.
Yeah, I know. Carry on.
So I'm in the military. So here's an interesting thing. When I was in the military, I was in California, and I got into some of that weird hippie occult shit. Yeah. Not because of, like, I was like looking for anything, but because it was like interesting and it was rebellious or whatnot. And I gave myself sleep paralysis.
Wow.
I mean, I'm talking
How
about.
How do you do that?
I know. So we were doing Ouija boards and shit like that, and seances, and it was definitely in my head. I had it in my head, but I started getting really patterned sleep paralysis. I mean, the demons were pulling down on the sheets and were straining me and jumping on my chest and everything. And then it graduated into kind of like an alien abduction type thing. But I actually had like a little crisis of faith back then. I was like, are the demons coming to get me? Am I opening myself up to the evil forces? And it was like it was a very trying time period. And then I woke up. But I'm an atheist that has sleep paralysis. Yeah. Now I think they're kind of cool, but
just write them out. I've had it a couple of times, and I already knew what it was, so it didn't freak me out. I said, "All right, here we go," and because it was one of those points where you're sort of awake and then you just can't move.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, you come to that realization, oh, it's sleep paralysis. And then you just ride it out. And it takes a few minutes.
Are yours demon or alien?
Oh, I never really thought about it.
Yeah, mine were both.
See anything really. Although I did have, like, there was this sort of a feeling like there was somebody in the room with me, but it wasn't aliens or anything.
So the first one I had, again, it was one of those wake sleep states where you just don't know if you're what you are. And I remember I was in my dorm room and on the base, and I remember getting up, and everything had this real sickly yellow hue to it. And the side of my face, it felt like I had a stroke. It was like the side of my face felt like it was just drooping. And then I got into my bed and put the cover over my sheets, and it felt like all at once something had grabbed all four corners and pulled as tight as it could. And then little things were like jumping out on top of my chest.
Bizarre.
That was the first one. And then the second one was really weird, and it was very intrusive and almost like a violation. I was having a regular dream, and all of a sudden this other dream, this paralysis, inserted itself violently into this other dream, and I jerked awake from it. It was so. And I always had like mostly ghost type of sleep paralysis, but it's like I can see how this could really fuck somebody up. Our mind is a crazy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Rick James said, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
It is.
Yeah. But
I've only ever smoked it once. I've never snorted it or anything like that. So
I've never done cocaine.
I didn't know I was smoking it until I was told. But
smoking, isn't that called crack?
No. Well, that's a form of it. Yes. What I was smoking, once I was told what it was, they call it a cocoa puff because it's rolled in with marijuana. Right. So you're smoking it with marijuana. I thought I was smoking a joint. You can't really taste it. I remember thinking I was smoking something. I remember thinking this tastes sweeter than usual. And then they said, oh shit, I forgot to tell you there's coke in it. I'm like, oh fuck, thanks. But
Hey Neil, just say no.
I know.
Just say no.
If it's a doobie, I can't.
Knowing is half the battle. Knowing is half the battle.
All right, G.I. Joe.
But after the military, I was an atheist. I was a very proud atheist. I was a very vocal atheist. And this is before we had people like Arn Ron, Matt Dillahunty, who gave us this voice of how to speak and how to communicate. Back then, it was just basically just taking the Lord's name in vain. And I will take the Lord's name. I had fun with it. I was in the early days, I was a internet troll. Would go on Christian sites and just troll the hell out of them because I was good at it. But I just thought of something. It made me funny. Going back to the sleep paralysis and the ghost things. I love blasphemy. I love it. The more witty, the more imaginative. I love it. I will take the Lord's name in vain, up and side down the other, 7 days a week. But you cannot get me in that bathroom and say Bloody Mary 3 times.
Or Candyman.
Or no. Jeez.
I do it all the time, man. Nothing ever happens.
Candyman or Bloody Mary?
I've done them both.
Dude, you're so dead.
No, I'm not. I'm still here. I've been doing it for years, and they've never ever.
Well, tonight, if you do it, it was nice knowing you because you've been warned. Where's Neil? Oh, Bloody Mary got her finally.
I guess I was too quick for them before. But.
Yeah. Wait, did you say it with the candle?
No. Why?
Okay, there you go.
That's the decider. That's the deciding factor right there. It has to be with a candle. I thought it was just you just said it. You look in the mirror. You have to look straight in the mirror and say that.
Is it 10 times?
That's 3 times.
At midnight. At midnight.
Oh, I've done it at midnight.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not midnight. It's 3 a.m. That's the witching hour.
3 a.m. Whatever.
Come on, dude. If you're gonna claim that you've done the Bloody Mary curse, then you got to do it right. You got to do it with your fingers crossed and your legs crossed with the goat wax candle and the moon.
Capture an image of the full moon. Yeah. I don't buy any of that shit, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I have done it. I've said both multiple times with the Bloody Mary and the Candyman one. So, although Candyman is just a ripoff of the Bloody Mary thing, anyways.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not too concerned.
Did you say Bloody Mary backwards? I think that's how it works. On Halloween.
Backwards now? So let's see. I need to have an image of the moon. I need a goat fucking candle or whatever. I need to do it at 3 a.m., the witching hour. And and what is it now? Halloween? And I have to say it backwards.
Yeah. And the mirror has to have, and it has to be dark, and the mirror has to be like it cleansed. And that's just salt water, though.
Oh, then it'll never work. My mirror's a fucking shit show, so it's not gonna work. It's got like shaving sponge. It's nasty. Yeah. But yeah. I haven't cleaned it in a while, obviously. But when you get up at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning to go to work, it's not like I want to be wiping down mirrors before I go to work. So usually I do it every couple
Bloody Mary an hour before.
Yeah. Hey, maybe there you go. Maybe that's what I'll do before I head out to work. I'll try it. I'll even apologize for being an hour late.
Or maybe, you know what? It's not 3 a.m. your time. It's 3 a.m. the time where she died.
Oh, see, these details just keep getting more and more complicated, Derek. I don't even know. Yeah. Okay, well, where did she die?
Read your Bible.
Read the Bible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure we can.
I have it somewhere. I just don't know where the fuck it is.
Yeah,
it's in Book of Mormon.
It's in Deuteronomy.
Oh, that's the Old Testament then.
Yeah. Do you know what is a Deuteronomy?
Beats the fuck out of me. I think it's somebody's name or something, or a place.
What's a Leviticus?
I don't know. It's Hebrew words.
I don't know. That sounds like a
old Hebrew.
Tick. Sounds like a tick or something, like a bug.
Leviticus Maximus.
Yeah, some disease. He's got Leviticus.
Scientific name. Oh my goodness, man. Oh, somebody's typing Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary backwards in the chat right now.
Oh, he's so dead. He's so dead. Dude, you're dead.
Nice knowing you, Tony. And Lucifer popped in and said that she sent some fan art my way, apparently. Wow, I don't get much fan art, which is surprising. But because my friend Surus gets shit tons. He was just on Truth Wanted the other day. So I think
with Dan.
Around. Yeah. I should get back on there too, because my first time around was a shit show because I couldn't get anything to work on my end.
That seems to be a common thing with that show. That happened with Cosmic Skeptic a couple of weeks ago.
Mm.
Yeah. The little super genius British kid.
Yeah. He's good people though, man. I hung out with him. Faceless for him.
He is. Did you get to meet Drew, genetically modified skeptic?
I just interviewed him about a week ago. Yeah. I've interviewed him. I've interviewed Dan. I've interviewed Thomas Westbrook. I've interviewed Aaron Ra. I've done Jamie, Eric, you name it, man. I've done Seth Andrews. I've done
Derek Hawke.
Derek Hawke. Yeah, well, that's going on right now. And in case you guys didn't know, because I'm not sure if I remember. Did I remember to mention that you were doing Atheist? Yeah, I did remember that.
Yeah. I also have my own YouTube channel, Killer Hawk 1.
Oh, fuck. That's what I didn't enter into the description. I'll do that after. Yeah,
so that's a non-advocacy type thing. It's more of a entertainment channel. I read creepypastas, horror stories, and also stories that I have written myself. And I do SCPs as well.
Cool. And And yes, Lucifer. I've also interviewed Lucy as well. So she's just reminding me in the chat right now, and me.
Hi, Lucy. Hey, girl.
And she says she loved it too, which is, well, I try to make these things fun, man. So
they are fun
because I know how hard it can be to recall some of this stuff, especially in some of the other stories that I've heard, where I've had stories that have literally, like Eric Murphy, for one, was a little section that he was talking about that I was on the verge of bursting into tears just because of some of the shit. And you almost had me going earlier when you were talking about this fucking bitch that was beating on you because you were left-handed. I'm like, who does that?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's shit that happens that it's like,
it's really difficult because people don't realize when you come out of religion, the indoctrination that was inflicted on you stays with you. It's something that I have to manage, and I probably will have to manage it for the rest of my life. Quite recently, last year, my grandmother passed away. And it was pancreatic cancer. She was diagnosed in August and was gone 5 months later. And right after she got diagnosed, I got a text from her, and it was her telling me that I needed to stay away from her because as she was dying, she needed to be closer to God, and I would be in that way. After she passed away, I realized that my grandmother did not know how to text. So it was somebody in my family who sent that message. And so I didn't get to see my grandmother the whole time that she was dying. And I saw her about a day before she died. And it was like a new person. It was a different person, you know, somebody took 5 months away from me and my grandmother, because I didn't believe how they believed. After she passed away, I actually had a crisis of faith again, but this time I wanted to believe so bad. I wished that I could have the comfort that my family had, because they were comforting each other. They were saying that they would be with her again someday, and were attacking me because I was trying to resolve that my grandmother was not in heaven, not because she didn't deserve to be in heaven, but because there is no heaven. And that was such turmoil in me. Even saying that right now, my grandmother's not in heaven, feels wrong. It feels ugly. It feels hateful. And I'm not saying it to do that. I'm saying because I don't believe in heaven. I don't believe she's in a better place. I believe that she lived her life and it's over. And and a lot of atheists, I don't fear death and blah, blah, blah. But once you really, truly are dealing with the concept of death, that there's going to be a day when you are no more. I've never had that feeling before, never considered it. I've accepted it in terms of, in my journeys away from God and Christianity, I've accepted that, but it was never real. Mm-hmm. It never was real. Just like it was never real that I didn't exist in 1871. I can accept that, but this was different. And my family made me guilty for mourning my mom. I'm sorry, my grandmother. They made me feel like, why are you upset? You don't believe in nothing. You don't, why do you care? And it was very damaging. I'm probably still mourning her because I don't know how to mourn. And little by little, I'm trying to get to that point. But I'm very angry. I'm very sad. Yeah.
It's tough when you lose somebody, especially by the way you're talking about her. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you were quite close to her.
Yes.
Right. So, and it's really tough when you lose somebody that you're super close to like that. And I was pretty close to, I wasn't always close to my dad, but I was later on in life. Him and I we did lots of stuff together, going to hockey games. And once the two of us got each other laughing, it just couldn't stop. And it was usually over something ridiculous, like a fart joke or something, right? But it didn't matter. But we enjoyed each other's company, and it wasn't always that way. So I think that's why both of us sort of embraced that more so later on when we became adults. And when he passed away, it was really hard for me. Like I literally, I had a little stuffed Tigger when I was a little baby, a kid growing up, and I lost it somehow at some point. And my dad went down to Florida to Disney World and got me this one. And I was 30 something at the time. So when he passed away, I slept with that thing for probably 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Just because I missed it, right? So, and of course I started the blood donor group in his honor. Because he was the big donor here in Vancouver, over 500 something, 30 something donations. So anyway, but yeah, I thought that was probably the best thing I could do to honor his legacy.
Yeah.
Do that. Right?
I just for the rest of my life, there's gonna be something in my mind wondering if my grandmother died not knowing how much I loved her, and that she died thinking I didn't care. That's really, that's the payback that I believe that somebody in my family gave to me for all the times that I was blasphemous and not for believing the way it is. Like, I got you back, and they did get me back. They got me back really good. I'm still recovering from that. The difference is all these traumas, all these hardships because of who I am and what I believe. I've gone through that alone. I've always been a loner. This is the first time in my life where I've actually had a community, and that incident actually what led me to the Austin atheist community was this feeling of ultimate despair and not having a community. And I reached out to, and I found out that there was a community here. And so this is the first time in my life where I'm actually going through this with friends and support and people who actually will let me cry on their shoulder and say, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You're going to be okay. Just one more day. Hold on just a little bit longer. You're going to be okay. And that's the power of people like you, like me, like the people that are on the other side of this glass, is that they truly, truly, genuinely care about you with no desire of reciprocation, no false hope that they're doing this so that they can earn brownie points from some big daddy in the sky and some everlasting, reward because they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
We do it because, well, we discussed this earlier, it makes us feel good. When I make you smile, I get something in return. When you make me smile, you get something in return. And if it's a hearty laugh or something just to make you feel better about yourself, mission accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, man.
I've met some amazing people in the past 6 months. 6 months, back in December, I was this shy, uncertain person. Now I'm co-hosting a show on Atheist Vanguard. I'm chatting with Aaron Ra. I'm sitting next to Seth Andrews. I'm playing board games and watching Avengers with Matt Dillahunty. It's an amazing life. And it was because I found my community. I found my brothers and sisters, and they found me.
Yes. And you know what? When I was down there and met everyone, I had very similar feelings. Like, I didn't know what to expect when I went down to the Faithless Forum and then ultimately to Austin to the ACA. And I tell you, man, because these people are like, in my mind, they're like, these guys are like huge YouTube stars. They're not going to fucking give a shit about me. I'm just some long-haired hippie fuck from Vancouver, right? So that has some crappy show on YouTube that, well, I guess it's not crappy. People seem to like it, which is pretty cool. I just broke 700, so that's pretty cool. And
awesome.
And I told you, I think in the chat, this is my 1 year anniversary today.
It is.
Yeah, my 1 year anniversary today. So you have the distinct honor of being my 1 year anniversary interview.
I'm so special.
Don't make me bring a hockey helmet with me next time I come down. I'm going to get your name on a piece of tape and put it across the front and everything for you.
Well, just don't do what they used to call me as a kid.
What's that?
Chicken Hawk.
Oh, no, I'm not. I like Killahawk. That's much, much better.
Yep. So now to present day, I'm a full-blown atheist. And I decided to, at the ripe old age of north of 30, I'm just going to leave it at that. I started writing stories, nonfiction horror stories. The first one I wrote was in 2015. It's called no. First, these were the symbolic autobiographical stuff that I wrote. The first one, I'm sorry?
These are stories that actually happened?
No, they're very allegorical. So like for example, the first story I wrote, The Sounding of the Trumpet, that was an idea that I got when I was 10 years old, sitting in church, trying to understand omniscience and omnipresence. That stuck with me all these years, and it took me about 5 months to write, and I finally did write it, and it became this epic battle. I'm not going to spoil it, but I wrote stories like a story called Cherubs, where it's about an autistic schizophrenic child who starts seeing, he's in a very Christian household and starts seeing these phantom cherub parasites on people, and these people always exhibit extreme religious hate. And the story is basically, are these hallucinations or are they really parasitic cherubs?
I don't even want to conceptualize what a fucking parasitic cherub would look like.
Well, it's like a dead baby. It's like a dead baby. It's kind of like a wrinkled skin. Instead of arms, it has tentacles that wrap around the neck and go and kind of spider up onto the face like that. And it's always on your back hugging you.
Sounds like a face hugger.
No, it's like a little worm, little baby worm.
Okay, all right, like a leech.
Yeah.
Just start sucking all your matter out.
Well, no. They induce religious paranoia and hate.
Oh, okay.
So all the hyper religious, all the hate that is stemmed from religion, usually are hosts for these things, or possibly if they are real.
Okay. All right, I'm going to try something here real quick. Let's see what happens if I do this. Hey, look at that. Can you see what's going on?
Yeah.
Now we're both.
I look pretty good.
It's not a fashion mirror, Derek. But I just think it's kind of cool that you can actually do that. I don't know. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer this one, where you can literally see the pores on my face, or do you prefer this one? We'll wait and see. Big giant heads. That's why I love my chat, man. The big giant heads. Yeah, we're 3D. It's like the old SCTV skit with the House of 3D. Would you like some pancakes? Pancakes. It's like fucking. That's pretty funny. That one. So half of them are saying
which one is my evil eye? This one or this one?
Apparently that one, because it's the one that charged the camera. So
yeah,
evil eye.
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
So you guys like this one better? I think I do too, because we're not as in your face kind of thing, right? You don't have to go, oh my goodness. So yeah, that's much better. Well, sir, is there anything we didn't cover? Because we are closing in on the hour, and I didn't realize that I forgot to mention.
I want to tell one story. Can I tell one story?
Absolutely.
Okay. So it was, I was probably about like 11 years old, and it was a church. And the thing that I really looked forward to on Sundays, of course, was not church, but was at noon, because every Sunday they would have the Godzilla double feature.
Yes.
Every Sunday. And I loved me some Godzilla. I love Godzilla.
Oh yeah, me too.
Especially
cheesy.
And so I accepted the fact that I would have to miss 30 minutes of the beginning of the first one because church didn't let out until noon. So I was fine with that. There was this one Sunday though when the preacher was talking all out his head, and it was coming, and it looked like it was noon, and he looked like he wasn't even finished. And I'm like, I am not going to mess any more of this Godzilla than I have to. So I snuck out into the front of the church, which is kind of like where you entered in, and in the back was another room, and there was like a little daycare, and in that room was a closet where they had the power switch, and I was gonna go out back there and cut off the air conditioning so that he would burn up there in the sermon. And so I sneaked back there, and I pushed the wrong button. I knew there was one for the AC, but there was one for the whole thing, and I was like, chunk, and the whole place went out, blackout.
Oh shit.
And so I'm like, oh, and so I'm like, I went back into where everybody was, and I opened the doors, and it was like just that was the whole source of light, and you saw my shadow stretch out the whole long aisle, and there was like 50 pairs of eyes looking back at me as I was trying to sneak back in.
Nailed.
It was like, way to go, Batman.
Guess who didn't see Godzilla that day?
No.
Yeah, man, you couldn't. If there was Godzilla movies going on, man, I was there all the time. They did the double feature thing too, and once in a while they would do a Godzilla and then a Gamera movie. Gamera, the big turtle.
The turtle.
Yeah.
The turtle would spin. Yep.
Yeah, with the fucking rockets in where his feet were and shit. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing
one final story. One of the biggest casualties of Christianity infecting my life was the loss of my He-Man toys. I had to throw away all my He-Man toys when we found Christ.
Where'd you find them? People have been looking for them. Where'd you find them?
Who? What? He-Man?
Christ. You said when you found Christ. I'm like, well, where'd you find him?
Fuck Christ. I had He-Man. I had Skeletor. I had Trapjaw. I had Triclops. I had them all. God, I put them in my my school duffel bag. It was a blue bag. I put them all in there because I had to, and I put them out in the garbage. And I hope to Jesus that the garbage man saw that bag and thought it was like dope or something, and opened it up, and they're still somewhere on somebody's shelf, because I had Batcat, I had Panther, I had Stridor, I had all of them.
Man at Arms, yeah.
Man at Arms, Tila, Evelyn.
Not that little Orville prick though.
Oh, fuck him! No, they didn't have him back then. They didn't have him back then. I had Battle Armor He-Man. I had the Eagle. I had them all.
I remember all that stuff. Back then, it was all about the Transformers for me. So I had fucking.
I had Megatron. Yeah. I had Optimus Prime. I had Sunstreak. I had Starscream. I had Skyward. I could keep them though because they weren't demonic.
No, they were, because they were machines, right? So I ended up donating them. Like 3 or 4 boxes full of them, right? The first generation through the movie generation through some of the Beast Wars ones that they came out with. Yeah. And I ended up giving them to a buddy of mine who was opening up a toy store. And I said, here, take all my old Transformers and see what you can get for them. So.
Yeah. Back in the day, I used to draw my own comic books. And I had a long going series of She-Ra, who teamed up with the Transformers to fight aliens.
What? I never heard this.
No, this was my comic. It was like I was in a spiral notebook.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had She-Ra fought with the Transformers. She fought aliens. She fought Boba Fett. She teamed up with Batman. I mean, I had them all.
Sweet. The closest thing I even came to in like real comics was there was an X-Men crossover with the Micronauts that I thought was pretty cool. And I think another one was Star Trek Next Generation crossover with Doctor Who. She-Ra was with Star Trek too. Oh yeah, cool.
And the Borg. And the Borg. She went up in the Borg too. She was a busy girl.
That could be misconstrued.
I wish. I wish I still had those. Oh, and then she eventually found Ripley, and they were flying around everywhere too.
Oh, okay. That's not where I thought you were going to go with that, but okay.
Yeah. You nasty.
It's the beer. Nasty. It's the beer.
Well, man, I had a blast. I am so glad that I did this.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to seeing you again, man. Yeah, I gotta go find you a Snake Plissken shirt like mine.
Oh yeah, we can walk around with it. We'll be like, yeah, we're like the Snake Plissken twins. Walk around there.
Call me Snake. Call me Snake.
Anyway, I don't know if you're up for it, but I always do an after party, and you're welcome to jump in. Well, you would be the guest of honor, but if you're in a situation where you can't stay longer, then that's fine. But normally I do an after party, and I have one set up ready to go, and it would be just be closing this off and sending you a new link. But I'm going to go have a quick cigarette first, and then we'll do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is that cool?
I can probably do at least 20, 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Then we'll get that going.
Okay.
All right. Well, Derek, man, it's been so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Thank you for being such an awesome 1-year anniversary guest too.
Thank you.
And thanks to everyone. Apparently, this is broadcasting twice on YouTube for some reason, and there are 2 different chats. So I want to thank everyone in both chats for hanging out with us. And we're going to have an after party going. So if you are interested in joining the after party, apparently this new format that I've got here, I can have up to like 6 people, or 6 or 7 people. I can't remember. So there's not going to be a whole hell of a lot of room. So let me know if you are interested, and I'll get you a link. I'll probably drop one in my group, but just keep in mind that it's somewhere between 5 and 7 people that can join Derek and myself. So probably 5 people if you're in here, Derek. Anyway, so thanks again, everyone. And remember what I always say at the end of these things, they call it faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.